to another edition of Did You Know Doctor Who? What you may not know about Doctor Who. This time we're going to have a look at The Web Planet, one of the more goofier Doctor Who stories. I hope you enjoy. This was the first Doctor Who story to ever have a trailer. Richard Martin was irked by this, and he felt it gave away too much of the plot as clips from later episodes were shown. Verity Lambert believed he was upset over the inclusion of a scene showing Zarbi entering the television studio, justified by her as the application of a familiar setting, designed to stop children from fearing the alien. The concept first came to Bill Strutton as he recalled being bitten by a bull ant as a child and seen insects fight. He also recalls his children fighting, which is what also inspired this story. The Zarbi and the Men-o-Terror were primarily created to rival the popularity of the Daleks and make plenty of merchandise. Noted choreographer Rosalind D. Winter was hired to create the distinctive movements and stilted speech of the Men-o-Terror. She was so successful that the production team asked her to take the role of the Men-o-Terror Vestin. The Web Planet premiered with a 13.5 million viewers, the highest in the series to date. It maintained high viewership across the 6 weeks. The script for the third episode was structured to omit Barbara, as Jacqueline Hill was scheduled to take a week's holiday. Working titles included The Zarbi, The Centre of Terror and The Webbed Planet. Peter Purves auditioned for one of the roles of the Men-o-Terror, but Richard Martin turned him down, telling him he was too talented to play a rubber-suited monster. However, Martin promised to bear Purves in mind when he needed a human character. Purves was subsequently cast in The Chase, playing not one but two parts, an American tourist Morton Dill in Fight Through Eternity, and the new companion Stephen Taylor in The Planet of the Decision. Originally, the Zarbi had the ability to spit venom. It was during the production of this particular serial that William Russell decided he was leaving the series. He felt his enthusiasm for the series had waned and he needed a change. The Zarbi required a 16-minute overrun brought by the variety of flubbed lines, miscues, equipment problems and troubles with the Zarbi costumes, one of which broke and had to be replaced. The start of recording of Escape to Danger was delayed when it found that some of the set had not been delivered to the studio and the Carstone floor had not been painted. Lighting and camera problems continued to plague the increasingly frazzled cast, and this time taping went 37 minutes beyond schedule. This was the day during which one of the Zarbi operators, his vision impaired by his costume, ran right into a camera. So rushed was the recording, however, that this blooper was retained in the finished episode. Richard Martin portrayed the thin atmosphere of Vortis by placing a distorting lens on the camera, giving the appearance of shooting through a thin petroleum jelly-like smear. Believed lost in the BBC early 1970s purge, negative film prints of all 6 episodes were recovered from the BBC Enterprises in the late 1970s. These prints appear to have stemmed from the 1973 sale to Algeria. As a result of the final episode was amended so the next episode captured and read the Space Museum instead of The Lion, as the following story, The Crusade, was not sold to Muslim countries. There was also some edits to the first episode to remove the reprise from the Romans. Unedited prints of all 6 episodes were also discovered in 1985 in Nigeria. The music soundtrack, although from stock, is a highly unusual one, created by a group called the Les Structures Sonores, who produced music on glass tubes. This music was later reused in Galaxy 4. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed. The Web Planet is very ambitious for its time. I think everyone's always said that. It's definitely aged. I think loads of people always talk about the Web Planet, especially the costume design, especially just how cheap it looks compared to like nowadays. But at the same time, you know, considering how ambitious this story was, you can understand why. This has a very mixed reaction overall. Like, a lot of people really love this story because it is a product of its time and it's just, you know, nostalgia really. Some people really detest it because there's a lot of reasons why they detest it. Some say it's really boring, some say that it's overly ambitious, some say the Zarbi in particular are very annoying. They're constant like mean or sound effect, which I agree. I find the Zarbi to be absolutely annoying. These sounds they make are constant. The constant blurring of the camera, it was a effect. You know, it was something. It wasn't brilliant in my opinion. Why did they do that? I mean, they never did it ever again. Never did it with other planets. But overall, like, I have mixed feelings on this story. I won't lie. You know, on one hand, it is, you know, a charming story. You can't help but love it for the costume designs. You can't help but love the Zarbi and the horror, and that, like, what is it, that woodlouse thing that shoots lasers, that thing was cool. And it is kind of goofy in a so bad it's funny sort of way. But on the other hand, it is kind of a boring story. It is very long, and it doesn't need to be 6 parts. So that's the problem. This is a story which didn't need to be 6 parts, and it is. And you have to constantly hear that Zarbi noise, that constant, like, sort of like Nino, like beep 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 sort of noise they make. It's irritating as hell. Like, the Zarbi, I'm so glad they never reappeared, or at least if they were to reappear, don't let them have that horrible sound. It's so awful. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Did You Know Doctor Who, and I'll see you next time.